Yeah, we're all fulled up now. That's the way it is. I'm young. Wow. Well, let me just say thank you. Start off right there, thanking the practitioners who were here and stood in last week while I was away. It was a wonderful service. It really was. I had an opportunity to watch it, the Q&A. So thank you to our practitioners. Thank you to all who were here to keep everything going. Thank you so very much. So, our theme for the year, oneness a day at a time. And our theme for the month, what is doubt about? What is doubt about? So let us start, as I always do, with the reading of the spiritual principles, which is titled What We Believe by Ernest Holmes. You can find a copy of this by doing a search online for Ernest Holmes and What We Believe. You can use the QR code that's in the back of your chair to also go to our website, to our newsletter to get a copy of this. There's some of these are printed out and are over here on the other side as well, if you'd like to have a copy of what I read from every Sunday. So this morning we're working with spiritual principle number 1. We believe in God, the living spirit, almighty one, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. Spiritual principle number 2, we believe in the individualization of the spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one spirit. And finally, spiritual principle number 4, we believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. I want to take this morning just to stay with spiritual principle number 1 a little while longer and to see perhaps what we can extract from it, because it says so much, just a few sentences, but it says so very much. It starts out by saying, we believe in God. And I know last week there was a question about the use of the word God and how it finds its way in some of us that sometimes does not feel comforting. It is, matter of fact, has the opposite effect. But let's start there anyway today, and let's see what more there is. We believe in God. And in our time together, we're not here just to simply take the word, to receive the word. We have come here to become makers of the word. What I mean by that? Well, that means that you've got to get involved. We have classes for you to get involved with. We have book studies for you to get involved with. We have meditation for you to be involved with, fellowship for you to get involved. And those things are intentional because it's an opportunity for you to begin to derive for yourself meaning around these words. To make meaning for yourself in a place where you can go back and forth with yourself, go back and forth with others, until you find meanings from these words that become comfortable for you. And then you announce it. As the words start to stir your soul, as these words start to change you from the inside out, you see, it becomes your prayer. We're not just simply here to receive the word, we're here to become makers of the word. That's an inside out job, but you got to be involved. It says, we believe in God. Another way of saying that is we believe in life that is governed by law and is governed by love. Another way of saying that is that we believe in a universe that is supported by harmony and supported by order. Another way of saying that is that we believe that our words create our world. Another way of saying that is that we believe in goodness. The principle states that we believe in God, the living Spirit, Almighty One. That states that there is not two, there is only one. And here, it ushers us into an opportunity to begin to accept that we are unified with God. We are unified with life. We are unified by love. We are unified by harmony. We are unified by order. It's one, not two. Here and in this teaching, we say something like this, that our attention is not on and believing that there is God, and we believe that that it goes like this: God is. Simple. God is, and we are the individualization of the living Spirit. Oneness. Our theme of oneness, we said back in January, the first week of January, I invited you all to consider that the theme itself is going to require us to do a little bit more. That is, if you don't have a spiritual practice, to consider developing a spiritual practice that works for you. And if you do have a spiritual practice, that is extending yourself, giving yourself a little bit more time to meditate, maybe giving yourself a little bit more time to contemplate, maybe engaging in a little bit more prayer. I'm not talking about quantity here. What I'm suggesting is that in the stretching of ourselves, our quality in being one with the one becomes so expansive that divine ideas start to flow into our mind. So, it's going to require a little bit more of us. Now, every time we pray, every time we treat, every time we meditate, every time we take a moment to go into the stillness, every time we do this, every time we engage in practice, we rid ourselves, we let go of any sense of separation. That's why we are doing it. To let go of any sense of separation. So when you don't practice, or if you don't have a practice, it's easy to feel separate. When you don't have a practice, or if you don't practice, it's easy to believe like there is nothing you can do. And more specifically, it's easy for you to believe at times and feel like at times that you are moving from a place of desperation instead of a place of inspiration. It makes all the difference, and it's important. The principle states that we believe in God, the living Spirit, Almighty One, comma, indestructible, comma, absolute, comma. We believe in God, the living Spirit, Almighty One, indestructible. Webster defines indestructible like this: being incapable of being rendered ineffective. So, if it is incapable of being rendered ineffective, then we are incapable of being rendered ineffective. We believe in God, the living Spirit, Almighty One, indestructible, absolute. The principle, absolute. That means there is a real certainty about love, a real certainty about the law, a real certainty about harmony, a real certainty about order, a real certainty about your words. That is something that you can count on. There's something absolute about love that you can count on. There's something so absolute about love that I can count on. The problem is that many of us, we don't know that. The problem is that many of us don't believe that. We don't believe that we live in a universe that provides our every need. And so we doubt. So we doubt. I wanted to read a little bit from the Science of Mind magazine, February 2024. And I'm reading from a reading titled Divine Discontent. It's written by Ernest Holmes. And he starts out by saying, what would a spiritual re-education of the mind mean? It would mean, first of all, the removal of fear. Another word for fear is doubt. The removal of doubt. And then he questions, what are we afraid of? Let me make it personal. What are you afraid of? Let me make it personal. Twana, what are you afraid of? He goes on to say that we are afraid of the universe we live in. We are afraid of what may happen to us in the universe. We are afraid of pain, suffering, and misunderstanding, of social and economic insecurity. We have been hurt by the contacts with life. It matters not whether this fear started when we first entered a cold world or whether it is a result of some form of frustration early in life. It is always fear. He says that there are 1,001 forms of fear. Fear may be old, new, or just beginning. But fear is always a feeling of some form of insecurity. Why not educate the mind into understanding that the divine plan is perfect and good, must come at last alike to all? Why not make use of the highest and best in the human spirit experience? Why discard something that has proved effective wherever it has been used? What is God but the intelligent life principle running through everything, sustaining and animating everything? The very imagination through which people seek their flight of fantasy, fleeing from reality, could just as easily have been directed into constructive channels for self-expression. Ralph Waldo Emerson felt the presence of the invisible, peopling the lonely places with life, warmth, and beauty. This is not a flight of fancy away from reality, but toward our inner truth. Where love is, fear cannot linger. Where love is, doubt cannot linger. Doubt cannot linger. It's important that we begin to establish ourselves in this truth. Our principal said that, principle number 4 says, we believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. That is the establishing of the kingdom of heaven on earth, the kingdom of heaven within ourselves. It's important that we establish these things in our lives, because when doubt shows up and fear shows up, you have to have something to stand on. And the thing that you're standing on, you don't want it to be wobbly. I believe in God. I believe in love. I believe in life. I believe in harmony. I believe in order. I believe in goodness. I believe in righteousness. When doubt shows up, like the kids say, you got to have something to stand on. Ask your neighbor, what are you standing on? What are you standing on? You have to establish something for yourself to stand on. And not just establish something for yourself to stand on. You need somebody. You need somebody to join you as you are standing. You need something to stand on, and you need somebody. I'm going to say it again. It's very important. You need something to stand on in your life, and you need somebody who can join you and agree. I believe in God, the living Spirit, Almighty One. It's indestructible, incapable of being rendered ineffective, and so am I. My word is powerful. I create the conditions in my own life, and I'm not absorbed by them. What are you standing on? You got to have something to stand on as doubt rears its head. And there's nothing wrong with doubt, but when it shows up, as Ernest Holmes says in his book, Living Without Fear, that when we stand in the shadow of the Almighty, we should no longer be blown by the winds of chance. We should no longer be blown by fear and doubt when it shows up in our life. So, what is doubt about? What is doubt about? Many of us, when we come into this teaching or any religious type of teaching, we bring with us our past. And when we come into the teaching, we are maybe not in such a conscious way, but an unconscious way, seeking and searching for something to change the past. Well, you can't use the principles to change the past. The past is the past. You should tell your neighbor, you cannot use the principles to change the past. You cannot use the principles to change the past. Yes, and we are absorbed by the past. So we spend all of our time and our attention trying to change the past. But we can't change the past. And when we can't change the past, we start to feel separate all over again. We start to feel like we are alone in it when doubt shows itself in our experiences. The teaching does not offer us any way to change the past. Our past is the past, and you can't use the principles to change the past. But what the teaching does offer us is an opportunity and a way to uncover the past. That's the work. To uncover the layers of the past. Let me give it to you another way. To uncover the story, and the story behind the story, and the story behind that story, and the story behind that story, and the story behind that story. It offers us an opportunity to uncover the past, to see our past with greater insight and greater depth. In this way, our work then is to become master observers, not of what's on the outside, but a master observer of what's going on the inside. Because when doubt shows up in the present, it really is from the past. Let me give it to you again. When doubt shows up when doubt shows up in the present, it is really from the past. And you can't use the principles to change the past. Let me share a little something with you. And I'm going to be very, very honest, and I would say that anyone who is leading or takes the stance of leading on a Sunday morning, a sacred Sunday morning, might join me in saying that oftentimes there is doubt. There is doubt, and let me speak for myself, there is doubt sometimes in putting the message together. I doubt myself. There is doubt sometimes in being the leader. Am I leading us correctly? You know what I mean? Where you leading the people to, Twana? You know, I'm just being honest with you. You know, there's doubt sometimes in my relationship when I don't get it right. In my relationship at home, in my relationship with my mother, and certainly with my relationship with you all. I doubt it sometimes. Those times I don't quite get it right. So it's not a matter for us of trying to figure out whether or not doubt is going to show up. It will, and it'll show up suddenly. And you might become paralyzed in your thinking and feel stuck. And so we start to doubt. But this doubt comes from when I was a little girl, appearing in the present. When I was a little girl, I grew up with my older brother and my older cousins and some younger ones. But I was always the one who was pointed out as being the one that would be responsible. So when my grandfather got up to go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning, he would wake me up and give me the $25, $30 and say, make sure everybody gets their money. And make sure y'all go and get something to eat. It was always me. Or when I grew up and I was a little girl, I was always the cute one. I know it might be hard to believe, but and so, you know, or the smart one. This kind of comparison thing was going on, and I don't think that my brother or my cousins was always all right with it. It didn't always sit right with them. And they didn't ever say it directly to me, but it was something that I could feel and I can sense. And so in my mind, I translated that to mean, just who do you think you are? And so now when doubt shows up in the present moment, that's really from the past, it echoes the same words that it's been echoing in my life over and over and over again. Just who do you think that you are? You got to have something to stand on. You see, I believe in God, the living Spirit, Almighty One. I believe my words and your words populate your world, creates your world. I believe in love. I believe in the law. We cannot use the principles to change the past, but we can use the principles to deal with who we are in the present moment. So the moment that doubt shows up, I don't move into treating the past, I move directly into treating the present. And in the present, what I am desiring is not to be rid of doubt, but to affirm and know who I am. To remember that I'm not separate and apart. To remember that the little girl and I are one. But I'm doing the speaking now. Yes. I'm doing the praying now. It's me. And it's you. It's me and it's you. So, we just have to be very aware. And life has given us and equipped us with a great, great deal and a great, great ability to be aware. So that when doubt shows up, we know that it is from the past. We know that it is from the past. I wanted to read a little bit more from Ernest Holmes in this same magazine, in the same reading. On the next page, he says that the inner kingdom is not an illusion. He encourages us to train your mind to believe in this inner kingdom. To train your mind to believe in this inner kingdom, that it is not an illusion, but the very essence of reality. And as the analyst carefully replaces fear with confidence and giving the clients back to themselves, why not add the larger self, the greater hope, the deeper realization, the realization of the self as an indestructible part of the cosmos? Why not link this spiritual realization with the most trivial, everyday occurrences? For the eternal day in which we are to live begins right here and now. Knowing the immediate nowness of the kingdom will produce not a flight of fancy away from reality, but will have the reverse effect of causing the mind to enter into its inheritance in the here and in the now. It is our good brother, Dr. Howard Thurman, who says that we are to live in the present, because in the present we soon discover that we are in eternity. To live in the present, because when we live in the present and not the past, we'll discover that all is available to us. We'll discover that there's something more in us, a greater word to describe who and what we are, a greater something about us that is absolute and indestructible that can meet doubt when it shows up. Live in the present, so that you may find yourself immersed in the eternal. Oh my goodness. So that I might find myself immersed in love when I need it. So that I might find myself immersed in something more when I need it. Not in 1 second later, but in the very moment that I need it. Peace be still. Doubt, go take your place, your rightful place. But it's not here. It's not in the love that is seeking to be expressed through me, and it's not to interfere with the love that is seeking to express through you. Listen, when doubt shows up, I can live in the past or I can live in the present. When doubt shows up, you can live in the past or you can live in the present. When doubt shows up, I can live in the past or I can be open to love. When doubt shows up, I can live in the past or I can be open to the eternity. When doubt shows up, I can shrink, or in the moment of doubt, I can become more expansive, ever more goodness and graciousness. I can affirm my wholeness, my completeness, and my perfection. I can become absorbed in my creation, or I can choose not to be absorbed by my creation. You can choose to be absorbed by that which you are creating, the doubt that has found its way in your mind, or you can choose not to be absorbed by the doubt that has found its way in your mind. I can become absorbed in my creation or choose not to. I can stand on nothing or I can stand on something. The teaching offers us a way to uncover the past and to treat the present. Practitioners, join me. As we move into a moment of prayer, just anchoring the word and the goodness that we all have experienced today. The children and the music, the rap, the love, the insight and revelation, the moment of assuredness where we together become makers of the word. Today, let's just simply affirm and know that goodness prevails and that life is good. We know it to be so because it is right now. In doing this, we just align ourselves and unify with the one mind, the one power, and the one presence that is everywhere present, equally present. There is no place and space in me and in you where love is not. There is no place in me and in you where the law is not operating upon our very word. There is no place that you and I can go where we are not aligned with harmony and order itself. There is no place that we can go where our words cannot and will not begin to create our world. We believe in God, the living spirit, almighty one, indestructible, absolute. It is, and so are we. As I speak my word, I am moved to become a maker of the word, and in doing so, I just know that the past is the past. And when my past and your past shows up as doubt, I know that we are standing on solid ground. I know in that moment that something in us is there to meet doubt, as doubt is finding its way into our experience that is greater than doubt, that is more than, that is expansive in us and through us and as us. I know it to be love. Because where love is, doubt cannot be. Doubt cannot survive. Doubt cannot sprout and become more in our life. For love is ever ever and all powerful. This is true for me, and this is true for you. I just simply affirm, and I know here and now, then that whenever I find myself, when we find ourselves in doubt, that something more meets it in such a wonderful and magnificent way that we begin to affirm and know who we really and truly are in that very moment. And instantly in our awareness, we see ourselves as we really and truly are. We see our situation and circumstance as it really and truly is. We become available then to the infinite and eternal. Something more is there for us to declare and decree, to make our own. I give thanks for this, that I and you and we stand boldly and affirm that we believe in God, the living Spirit, Almighty, one, indestructible, absolute in his existence. It is, and we are. I am grateful. I'm moved in this moment to just simply gather in the words that have been spoken. As we do so, we just take these words in. Surely we become makers of the words. We find something in it for ourselves that resonates, and then we begin to shout it out. It becomes our very prayer, and it is done. We accept it. We let it be. And together we just simply come together in agreement by saying, and so it is. And so as we journey on throughout the week, establish yourself in the kingdom of God Almighty. Know that you stand in the shadow of the Almighty. Cease seeking to change the past. Allow the principle to change you in the present moment where you meet eternity. And so it is.
And so it is.